That's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
すごいね。おー。どうしよう。今なんかキーワードあったような気がしたけど。キス。
That's when she got pregnant.
うん。王子様で言ってみよう。王子様。ああ、これだけか。お、キスで結構出た。
Nothing else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye. Then next week I was singing the bar again and there he was. And again the next week he offered to buy me a meal. I told him I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye, he asked me to kiss him. Romantic. Yes. I thought about telling Hannah. I felt guilty after the kiss.
ほうほう。
But then it began to feel like this was the way it should be. Sharing, like we had before. He never mentioned her to me. There was the Simon with me and the Simon with her.
二人で付き合ってるっていう自覚はあったのか、サイモンに。But
after the kiss, the next time, he took me back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing.
何？謎が深まってくんだけど。なんだ？なんだこれ。チットチャットだって。終わったのか？まだです。ああ。そうか、了解。じゃあ終わったら教えてくれ。何？コールってある。あ、教えてくれ。教えちゃったのか。まだ。おうほうほう。オッケーオッケーオッケー。面白い。なんだこれ。おーっと、出ました。センシティブなワードで。
I wouldn't say that. It could be passionate. It's just, it was more than that. It wasn't just sex like I had been with the other boys. You're reaching here. Oh, I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon is dead. But I have my baby to care for. Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing?
浮気とセックスになんでこだわるの？
No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow, so we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a
ウ
wig.
ィッグ
Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers, drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD.
ええ
When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
いまいちやっぱりどういう状況なのかがよくわかんないよね。お、出ました。結婚で3つヒット。
A long time. We got married when I was 17.
27歳ってことか。10年。結婚して10年だから。
Childhood sweethearts. Something like that. And you married detective.
幼なじみの恋。
I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us.
結構ヒットしてるね。結婚式にしてみるか。お、1個出た。
Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long, though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
お、ウィッグで4つも出ました。
A wig? You mean... What type of wig?
あ、ピンときてなさそ
No, I've never worn
う。
a wig.
あ
What kind of
あ、
wig?
やっぱりこっちが鼻で、髪下ろしてる。これがイブかな。
This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap?
あ、そういうこと？なんか、ブロンドの、誰だっけ？ヘレンだっけ？忘れちゃった。名前忘れちゃったけど、金髪の人、彼ブロンドが好きだからみたいな感じで言ってたけど、この人がウィッグをかぶってたってことか。ブロンドって。 そういうこと？金髪のウィッグをかぶってたの？
It was 9, about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left.
もう7個あるんだ。金髪とか入れてみるか。あー、出ない。ブロンドかな、じゃあ。あー、出ないわ。じゃあ家族で行こう、次は。あ、一つだ。
Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though. I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till.
うんうん。さて、何調べたらいいかな出てこなくなっちゃった。キーワードが。まだね、半分も見れてないっぽい。嘘でしょっていう量なんだよね。だってもう何を調べたらいいかなって感じだけど。これなんか終わったって言ったらどうなるんだろう。終わった。あれ、終わったって何？はいとか？そうか、それじゃ分かったのか。君の母さんがなぜあんなことをしたのか？自分の親だったのか？わからない。いや。まあ仕方ないさ、サラ。なんなら日を改めたっていい。外で待ってるからログオフして出てきてくれ。じゃあ行ってみるか。ログオフ。あ、エンディングに入ってしまった。これ他になんて調べるんだろう。これ途中からできるのかな？調べたいことが一つ出てきた。他に何かキーワードあったかな？でもなんか、二人でやった感はちょっとあるよね。赤ちゃんのためにって言ってたのもあるし、二人でサイモンを殺したのかな？コンティニューできるな。コンティニューしてみるか。オッケーオッケー。ちょっと、血って調べたかったんだよね。おー、出てくるじゃん。
Okay. I've given blood before. Do you need to take that for your records?
DNA 採取。
Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The blood. It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
うんうん。
Well, fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people have been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know.
地下
I haven't
室。
looked in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in, as good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out.
勝手に捨てるなよ。
And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral.
お葬
Some
式。
information. So, like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been
喉が切り裂かれてね。喉。
There was a lot of blood. Yeah, he was dead.
ふんふんふん。おー。じゃあ血液にしてみよう。一つか。じゃあ地下室。お、1個出た。
The whole thing was wrong. The bags,
袋。
I think they were from our kitchen. You can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
何の話だろう。私たちのもの？サイモンのこと？怖いよ。私たち。お、1個出た。あ、2個出てる。
What about us? I think so. I mean, to get into our garden, we'd have to climb through other gardens. All the gardens back onto each other, so you'd have to climb over 1, 2, 3 gardens to get to ours.
岩？
I mean, did anyone see anything? Did anyone see anyone come and go? An intruder?
庭？ない。目撃者？いない。侵入者？ない。じゃあ、お葬式をちょっと調べよう。お、1個出た。
Yes, it was a cremation for the best. We both wore black and had veils, so it was easy. And after the funeral, everyone came back to the house. Hannah served up sandwiches, and I stayed out of sight.
ほんほん。仮装。ないか。ひどいって結構使うよね、この人。ひどい。ないか。じゃあちょっと遺体の状態について。喉。お。なんだこれ。
On his throat. How?
なんだこれ。
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present, another mirror, just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open.
え
She'd only meant to scare him off.
えもう事の経緯やん。ちょっと待って待って待って。ふんふん。鏡を彼女は我を失い破壊した。おお。ちょっと装飾で1個ヒットしました。これ鏡か。
Yes, this is it. He made it himself. It was a special one-off. He made it. He decorated it. That's his thing. Where did you find it?
あ、で、彼の喉にか。お、プレゼントでもう一個出た。
About 8 years back. It was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
うん。コーヒー。めっちゃ出たんだけど。
Black coffee, thanks. No sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is.
甘さ？お、やっと半分見たみたい。なんだってさらにもう半分あるのか。
Yes.
多いね。
I got to Glasgow. I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back. Black no sugar. Thanks.
うん。なんか髪を結んでるのが花で、下ろしてるのがイブって感じかな。
No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water.
お、水。
No. No one has been in the last few weeks. We had a plumber come in 3-4 weeks ago. Someone summoned you from the rock. You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Came walking by the sea.
さっきの前の歌なのかな。
Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son.Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the young.
これ事実やん。どっちが姉でどっちが妹なんだろう。あ、ちょっと 妹がじゃあイブか。
Long blonde hair, all the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Out comes the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swans. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain.
これすごいね。結構好きなんだけど、この曲。普通になんかいい
I think
曲。
it's really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
で、最初に見た曲につながるのか。じゃあちょっと喉についてもうちょっと突っ込みたい。この切るっていう。ありますね。15個もある。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
結構15個もあるからね。キーリーとかキールーとかにして調べないとね。
No, they were shut. Most of the windows were really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door.
じゃあ雨と風だっけか。歌にも出てきてた。ないか。ないはおかしいだろ。出た。で雨。歌だけか。海。ない。じゃあ、車で行きましょう。出ますね。
So I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped,
グラス
I was all the
ゴー。
way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep. I left the next day, Saturday. I slept for a few hours in the car. When I woke up, I came straight back. Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up. I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And I...
これか。
Is there a bin?
妊娠中だからって言ってたやつ。
Yeah. I pulled over and slept in the car. This was just by the side of the road. I was exhausted.
11個もあるな。グラスゴーで調べるかじゃあ。
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
窓2つ。
Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out.
少女と母親がちょっとキーワードっぽいね。
Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells.
教会。
Like you said, it was very romantic.
教会ロマンチック。OK？ 病院。おお、出た出た。
Ask the hospital. I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital?
うんうん。
It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back.
え？
I had decided that she was more important to me.
花が妊娠してるんじゃないんだ。え？お、母親一件ヒット。
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah.
え？
Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
え、でもこの人サラだもんね。この人っていうか私。あれ？お。
Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember well I went over the river. And then there was a church. There. Yeah. And I probably...
プリンセスストリー
Oh,
ト。
well, I remember seeing a street sign called Princess Street. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There.
うん。さすがにプリンセスストリートじゃ出ないよな。うん。お、ロマンチック。
It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford.
ほうほうほう。ドア。お、1個。
Are you arresting me? No. Fuck off. Open this door.
逮捕。逮捕ね、逮捕。おお、出た出た。
Like I said, I think I was popping out to get something, ran out of something, had to grab something. I sometimes drive too fast. If you want, you can arrest me for that. This is a nice room. This is where you take people when it's time to arrest them. Yes, No lawyer. What are you going to arrest me for?
あれ
Yes. No
この
lawyer.
人指輪してない。こっちの人は指輪してるのに。
Like I said, I think I was popping out to get something.
お、鍵。2件ヒット。
Yes. I always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key.
何の話だ？
Yes. I always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key. No, I don't think it was. I turned the key, but it was already unlocked.
お、歌で2件。
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings.
え？
Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings. So I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist. He saw me singing one of my shows. Pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was. But he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness.
Oh.
He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
おー、出るね、出るね。
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
ダイアナ妃に憧れてたんだ。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
なるほどね。王子、様まで入れないで、なんか出るかな。あ、1個出た、1個出た。
I don't know if anyone really changes. You just become more yourself. Simon was my prince, and that hasn't changed.
お、彼で1個出た。
Suicide? No. I mean, he would never do anything like that. He is not the kind of person to do anything like that. I mean, to hurt himself? No.
自殺。 これだけか。彼女はどうだ。ああ、多すぎるな。じゃあ、夢。出ないか。じゃあ結構じゃあもう言葉では出てないけど突っ込んだことを。ああ、出ないか。じゃあ双子にしよう。双子はちょっと出てたもんね、少しだけ。お、2個出た、2個。
Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question?
どういう意味？
Are you out of your mind? Twins?
これは、おーっと、これはイブかな？あ、花は自分が双子だって理解できてないのかな？認めてないっていうか。でも、イブは、なんか私たちは双子みたいな感覚っぽいよね。なんだろう。はい、あれから少し時間が経ったんですけど、調べたいことを少しまとめたので、ちょっと調べていこうかなって思います。まずは2月。お、1個出ました。見てみよ
Well, I don't know. I probably had to pop out and get something. That's why I was speeding. And that wouldn't have been noted on my timesheet.
う。タクシーにこすっちゃった時だけか
I
な？
really can't remember back to February.
うん。おそらくそうだね。ちょっと用事とかも調べてみたいな。ああ、特に出ないね。じゃあ次、作り話。お、1個出ました。
Okay. Sounds weird. I'm not great at making up stories.
うん、特にこれといった重要な話ではなかったな。じゃあ次、娘。あ、娘出ないね。そっか。出ると思ったけど。じゃあ次、ヘレン。あー、出ない。ガラス屋の娘だよね。出ない。ゲーム。あー、出ない。全然出ない。死因はじゃあ。名前忘れちゃったけど。あー、出ないな。誰だっけ？エリックだっけ？サイモン？旦那さん。これね、まだね、半分なんだよね。見た映像記録が。もっとなんかこう、ないのかね、キーワード。お、口論ので調べたら1個出ました。
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm quite a private person and I didn't want to get into the detail of the argument.
でもこれは赤ちゃんのことだよね、確か。多分、そんなんだったと思う。お、頭で一つ出ました。
I mean, what if they were crazy? You hear about these crazy people all the time. I mean, why would anyone who knew Simon want to kill him?
愛されていたと。じゃ仕事ちょっと行ってみようかな。仕事。多すぎるね。じゃあ、職場。あー、出ない。お、A で1個。
Sure, I think. I do all the bills and paperwork and handle all the money stuff, so it should be easy for you to find. Do you want them dropped off to you?
何の話だろう、今これ。お金、一つ出た。
No. Everyone loved Simon.
これさっきの続きっ
He's a
ぽいね。
glazier who doesn't have much money. I mean, I don't know.
いい人だったってことじゃないの？じゃあ支払い。これだけか。これ何の話なんだろう。
Sure, I think. I do all the bills and paperwork and handle all the money stuff, so it should be easy for me to find.
関係。出ないね。愛で一つ出た。
No. I mean, everyone loves Simon. He was so nice to everyone. He loves me.
好かれてたね。何回も言うね。私がで出ました。
I didn't. I slept in the car. I left about 9 that night. I wasn't there.
夜9時。時間、この3つだね。夜。1個出た。
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I know it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would
行方不明。
distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's...
なるほどね。よし、じゃあ9時。これ出ないか。じゃあ時間。1個出た。
That should eliminate me as a suspect. If I was in Glasgow, can't be in two places at once.
なんか前も見たよね、こんなん。何回も喋ってんのかな。容疑者ちょっとありそうだな。2個も出た。
Okay. So you want to eliminate me as a suspect? This is the third day running you've called me in. I speak to Doug and Eleanor every day. They say you've been asking a lot of questions about me. Should I be worried? Am I a suspect?
じゃあちょっと行方不明。ない。じゃあ事情。出ない。あと何あるかな。逆に被害者とかないか。ルールで2個出ました。見てこう。
Just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them. It lasted about 6 months. I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird. in a way it hadn't been before. Can you imagine? I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen. I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had. I was pretty ill. I mean, how could we stay the same now? I felt like Hannah had really fucked things up, set us down separate paths. We had become different. Simon was very moral about that sort of thing. He wouldn't just walk out there and sleep with anyone. He wasn't that kind of guy. He took his marriage very seriously. I think when I drove back, it was about 8 or something. And I got back to the house about 3. No cat. My parents had a cat before they died called Domino. It was this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat for that, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it. We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway. When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book, the knock code, something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor. Dad thought we had mice, but they couldn't find any. Bought a cat anyway. They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad taught me that.
毒キノコ。
But, I mean, the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone. And no one had any reason to hurt them.
事故じゃないってこと、親が亡くなったのは。
Must think it's very cool that their dad is a police detective.
この取り調べしてる人のお父さんが刑事さんってことかな？
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She would only wait. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was her imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear. She went mad. Get dressed this instant. So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. Mum was amazed.
早着替えってことでしょ。じゃあ食中毒？ お、1個出た出た。
At the time they said it was poison, food poisoning. I mean, I felt so guilty. If I'd still been at home, maybe I could have done something. I didn't.
うん。花にやられ、花イブどっちだ？今話してたのは多分、花かな。だからイブに、お父さんは毒キノコで殺されたと思ってんのかな。おー。
I was living in the attic. It was a very hard time. I was depressed. Was still pretty sick of the STD. And I came down one morning and they were dead.
怖い。そんな
They
の。
were in bed and both had been sick. They'd thrown up a lot. And I just slept through it. The police said it was the mushrooms they ate. Dad was a mushroom expert.
あ、でもこっちのイブも
Picking with him and he taught us how to
言っ
recognize
てるん
them.
だ。誰がやったんだ？
There's no way he would have picked death caps.
誰がやったんだ？キノコで。
The police believe that's what happened. They never even looked in the attic.
おー。お、刑事。
No, it's okay. The other detective has just gone to get me one.
全然関係ない話だった。お、自分2位で1個出ました。
When she went home, Sam had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me. Told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them. This sister he didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face. She...
どっちどういうことだ？
This was nine about me.
この人は妊娠してないんじゃないっけか。
She wanted me to move in with them. This sister he didn't know she had.
おーっと、ベッドで3つも出た。
In the bedroom.
何の話？
That can't be right. In the bedroom.
ねえ、何もわからん。
I sleep on the right side of the bed as you come in from the door. You can tell because I have two pillows and he just has one.
上で1個出た。
Good. Happy. I mean, ups and downs like any couple, I guess, but we've been married for over 10 years.
夫婦。おお、夫婦で1個出ました。
So, our sex life is probably fairly average for a couple after 10 years of marriage.
うん。おお、2個出ました。
Really? You're going to ask me about my sex life? I mean, isn't that private?
プライベート。
Are you married? How is your sex life?
プライベート。ちょいちょい言うね。お、彼女2で1個。出ました。
I think it was that time, the first time at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant. Amazing, right? This fucking magic sperm. And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods. I had pretty irregular periods anyway, but 3. I had always thought we were infertile. Both of us.
この人が妊娠してたの
I
か。
didn't tell him. Just waited. Hannah and I were meeting for our birthday, and I told her because I thought she would be happy for us both. I think she was.
なるほど。お、75% 以上のデータベースにアクセスをしました。実績を解除。やったー。やっぱ 75% いかないとちょっとね、彼女のことを知ったとは言えないよね。初めてで2個出た。
Fine.
指紋。
It's taken before. I once put my hand on the oven.
やけど
I've never taken a lie detector test before. Does it really work?
指紋。うおー、めっちゃ出たー
Fingerprints. Yes.
あー、ベッドルームに行ってこれかな指紋。
I changed the sheets too. Were the fingerprints in all those places? Could they have been my parents' fingerprints? I'm not sure how long they last for, but is that possible? Really? Go on then. Take the cup. Run your fingerprints. They'll match. Fucking idiot.
興味深い。指紋。そっか、指紋ね。